Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm bringing you a review on the new bareMinerals barePro Liquid Foundation. When I saw this come out and their claims were medium to full coverage, I thought, yes, finally, bareMinerals has heard so many requests throughout the many years for a full coverage liquid foundation. Now, if you know me, you know that I have been a huge bareMinerals fan and bareMinerals foundation wearer for years and years and years. And only about maybe 3 years ago did I stop using their original foundation on a regular daily basis. That was my go-to for many, many, many years. My skin kind of finally settled down and I was able to use more liquid foundations. So I started trying lots of different liquid foundations and thought, why doesn't bareMinerals come out with a good for your skin liquid foundation? And now they have finally done it. I've been using it for about 2 weeks and feel like I've given it enough of a try to give you my thoughts. So here we go. So the bareMinerals barePro foundation comes in a glass bottle with a nice pump and a lid, so it's very travel friendly. You get, let's see, 1 fluid ounce. Here's the outer box, and it does have SPF 20, which I appreciate that. Almost all of the bareMinerals foundations do have SPF in them, so I personally love that. Now the claims on this foundation are pretty amazing. I'm going to read you from the website. It says, it blurs pores and imperfections and improves the appearance of skin texture over time. Breathable and creamy. It's makeup so pure you can sleep in it. Now, makeup so pure you can sleep in it is their trademark phrase they've had since they had their powder foundation, which was my favorite for years and years and years. It says this particular foundation has a natural matte finish, blurs pores and imperfections, sweat resistant and transfer resistant, combats gray or ashy look on darker skin tones, free of oils, parabens, and fragrance, non-acnogenic and non-comedogenic, promotes improved skin texture, hypoallergenic. So all those things sound pretty amazing, and all hit points that I have concerns about. So I've got enlarged pores, I have skin texture, and I hate when I look in the mirror after 6 hours and see foundation breaking down, because even though I take my time putting on my foundation and my makeup in the morning, I don't want to have to think about it the rest of the day. That's just me. I will reapply lipstick, but I don't want to have to touch up my foundation. So after using this for about 2 weeks, spoiler alert, I will tell you that I really, really love this foundation. Now, it does say it is a medium to full, what does it say? It says it's a full coverage foundation. I would say that is true if you, depending on how you apply it, but I don't like it in its full coverage form, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. So when I first got this foundation, it was a little tricky to figure out what my color is. Now, even the color I took home is still a little light for me. This is Golden Nude 13, and they do give you helps as far as if you have pink undertones, neutral undertones. So this one has like warmer undertones, but it's 13. Now there are 30 shades in the range, which is amazing. So there should be a shade that fits for you. I wanted to go with something that was a little lighter than my summer shade, and so I have been mixing in my NYX Pro Foundation Mixer in olive when I have more sunless tanner on to make it work. Today I didn't mix any of that in, and I will show you a demo in a moment of me applying this foundation. But the one thing that was really tricky, and I've heard several other reviewers say the same thing, is how to apply this foundation. I don't know what you're thinking. What's the big deal? You just apply it like you normally do. Yes and no. I have found that it gives me a different look, and I like it less depending on how I've applied it. So I've applied it with a buffer brush, I've applied it with my fingers, I've applied it with a beauty sponge, and I will tell you my favorite way to apply it is this Morphe blending sponge. I dampen the sponge and pat it in. I've also used the Real Technique sponge, and that was pretty good as well, but there's something about this one that I love. Now, when I applied it with the buffer brush, it just did not work well. I don't know, it just didn't blend in very well. They sell it with kind of a dense, more of a flat shaded brush that you're supposed to almost like paddle this on. I never like doing that, but that would give you a lot fuller coverage. But I also feel like with this foundation, even though you can achieve full coverage, it can look real and feel heavy on the skin if you do it that way. So my favorite way to apply it is with my Morphe sponge, and I will insert the demo of me applying it here. I'm going to start off with 3 pumps. Then taking my damp Morphe sponge, I'm going to go ahead and just dip right into that using my little paint palette here. And then after one thin layer, I'll go back in certain areas and just add a little bit more before the foundation dries. This will set down pretty quickly. I found if you add a little bit extra in the areas you need more coverage before it dries, it's less cakey that way. And there you go. I prefer using no primer. I think if you've got a foundation that is supposed to make your skin look better over time, then I personally think that should be applied directly to your skin, and that is the way that I feel like it performs the best. And keep it to one thin layer, like I mentioned in the demo, and then just go back on the areas where you need a little extra coverage and add it there. Do that before it dries, and then it feels super lightweight and like you're not wearing foundation. When I applied 2 layers and got it up to full coverage, it felt thick. When I looked in the mirror, I could see it on my skin. I just did not like that look at all. So trust me on this, just do a thin layer, go back and add some extra coverage in areas you need, apply your powder, and you will love it. Now, the other thing that they have advertised along with this foundation is the barePro powder, which came out a year ago. The barePro powder, I couldn't figure out how I felt about it, because it was advertised as a foundation and it did give full coverage, but I didn't feel like it lasted very long. It didn't have any SPF in it. So I was really confused why bareMinerals came out with that product. But now that they've released this liquid form, they have advertised that powder as the companion with this. Now, if you're wanting more coverage, you can add that barePro powder. They do work well together, but like I said earlier, you are gonna get a heavier look to your foundation. So my favorite 2 powders to go over the top of this foundation are either the Bare Skin Perfecting Mineral Veil. This is the pressed form of their mineral veil, and I have this in medium, or my good old Coty Airspun powder, and this is the translucent extra coverage. So even though this says extra coverage, I don't feel like it makes this foundation look cakey at all. So those are my favorite 2 powders. So the other amazing thing about this foundation is how long it wears and how it truly actually looks better as the day goes on. Now, I've always found that with bareMinerals foundation, I generally don't like how it first looks on my skin, but as your skin warms it up and as it kind of meshes in with your skin, I feel like it actually looks better as the day goes on. The other thing, I've had long wearing foundations before. I love the MAC Studio Fix Fluid, and you know, that stays true all day. But the one thing about this bareMinerals Pro, which is amazing to me, is that any products like your cheek color products that you put on over it, that color stays true all day. I will look in the mirror at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon when typically, no matter what blush or bronzer I've used, it's usually faded a little bit through the day. But with this foundation, I feel like the cheek color, the bronzer, my highlighter, everything looks like I just applied it. It's amazing. I have not tested much of the transfer resistant part of it. I have used my phone several times. I don't notice it transferring onto there, but overall, I really feel like this is a great long wearing foundation. I probably around the hours of 7-8 hour wear, I will generally get a little bit shiny through here, but the foundation is not breaking down. So I'll just blot a little bit or add just a little dusting of powder and I'm good to go. I've worn this for, well, not 24 hours, even though it says you can. I don't think I'm going to be doing that, but I've worn it for upwards of 14 hours and it's still in place looking good. So if you are looking for a long wearing foundation that has really good ingredients, then I would check out this new foundation. It is at Ulta, Sephora, and on the bareMinerals website. I will have a link to it down below as well. So if you have any questions, please list those in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.